Hi, welcome back to the Modelier. On this channel, we bridge the gap between physics, engineering, technology, simulation, and AI. Today we're having a look at Traycer. The site is Traycer.ai, link below. And in a nutshell, Traycer is a harness that allows you to wrap together all of your existing AIs into a shared environment with shared context so that they can do cooperative work. So when you download and install Traycer and fire it up, you'll see a rather ordinary looking AI chatbot kind of screen. What's interesting was when I first installed it, it auto-recognized my chat, Claude, Grok build credentials. Traycer does use bundled versions of each of those, but you can reconfigure it. Let's go into settings and providers. You can see here's Codex, and in this section here you can switch between the bundled and your current PAM. As always, you can have an AI help you set this up. So we've got Codex, Claude Code as the provider, Grok build, and then the other thing you can do is if you are serving up AIs locally, as I do through Bionic, which if didn't look at it, I had a video on this last week. Card is somewhere. Here in Bionic, in the settings where it says Local Model API, you just click that on and it'll serve up whatever model you wish that you have either on your local machine or across your network on, say, a Spark. So to access that, however, inside Traycer, what you want to do, at least what I did, was I downloaded OpenCode and I have that serve up the local model. And again, as I've mentioned, you just have your favorite AI help you do the setup for that. One other thing you'll want to set up before trying to use Traycer is the agent selection guide, right here in the settings. It's a big long markup that you paste in. I had Grok put me together one. We did a little back and forth on all the different things I might envision doing with this. Your favorite AI will go back, read the documentation on the Traycer site, and help you put together one of these. So you can see the available coding agents section here, core rules, cleanup, architecture, lots of structure in this. Then it lists the different roles and which AI to assign to that role: researcher, senior, junior programmer, etc. It's worth noting that this is not just for agent selection. You can consider this to be the equivalent of an AGENTS.md file for the Traycer environment. So you could go down and add sections to the bottom for things other than agent role. So there are 3 modes, as typically we're used to. Supervised, where it asks before it does anything. Auto accept, where it asks before it does edits, but it does the edits automatically and it asks before anything else. And YOLO mode, basically. Now the interesting thing is, because this is only auto-approving edits, if you leave it in this mode, while it is safer, it will be a royal pain because it's going to be asking Mother May I 15 times a minute. So what I've done is, in all of my models, I've put a pre-tool use hook into the model. So for Claude, for Codex, for Grok build, those intercept potentially destructive commands and flag it, put up a little dialog box. Do you sure you want to do this? That makes everything safe enough that you can go YOLO mode here in Traycer. As always, you can have your AI help you set those up. Grok, Claude, they'll all happily understand your request, the need for that, and will do a good job setting it up. So let's move on. Last week in the Bionic video, I did an example of looking at fusion propulsion. That Quen, the model I used, produced a couple of documents that were pretty good, but I could see a few mistakes in them. So what I'm going to do here is feed it to Traycer, have Traycer invoke other models, and have them do a grand debate style review of these documents. Okay, so you can see the prompt that I've put in there. I'll give you a moment to read that. And I'll put it down below as well. So watch the magic that happens as we fire this off. You'll see that Fable starts out parsing the initial request. You got to allow the file access, and then, so you can see what happened here. It took several minutes to actually parse through the documents, which was why I did the time jump there. Over here on the left-hand side, you see where it's firing up both Grok and Codex, and interestingly enough, getting some errors, but it's trying to handle them. As you can see here, it's now succeeded in talking to both Grok and Codex. And while it looks in the chat as if it's stopped, if you look up here, you will see that the sub-agents are actually still chunking along. In fact, you can open those in their own tabs and watch them work, or put them in separate sub-window and watch them work. And if you didn't catch that, you don't need to slow it down. You either double click it, go open it in a tab, or you drag and drop the agent from the sidebar there onto the main area. Another portion of the screen to keep tabs on is down here, the artifacts area. As it writes artifacts, they will be listed down there. Now I accidentally played a nasty trick here, in that the original documents were produced using 4 references, 2 of which are on the internet, and 2 of which were PDFs from my hard drive. I forgot to pass along the PDFs from the hard drive. We'll see, both of those PDFs, by the way, are findable on the internet. So we'll see what happens. These are all smart models, and we'll just be prepared for the outcome. One other feature worth noting is up here on the very top on the right hand side is a little meter icon, and you click on that, you see how much of each you've used, except for the fact that for some reason it can't access the Grok usage. But for Codex and Claude, you can see your usage. So at this point, we see that Grok has produced its artifact for this round, and it is reporting back to the main orchestrator. Codex is still thinking, so we'll give it a little more time. And now Codex is complete after almost 14 minutes and is reporting back to the orchestrator, Fable. Now Fable's going to look at all the artifacts and orchestrate round 2 of this debate. So what Fable has done as the orchestrator is it created a list of the conflicts amongst the various round 1 documents and sent that list back to the other agents for adjudication. We'll pause here to see how long that takes. So now both of the Codex and Grok have reported back, and the orchestrator is going to review the input. Interesting to note that Grok is still outputting a summary. Another interesting point to note is that they have apparently arrived at agreement. So now the orchestrator will be compiling all this information and then providing the rewritten documents. The orchestrator has written out the consensus artifact, and you can see down here that it's dispatching to a documentation writer role as per the selection guide. And when completed, it also, I believe I have this written in the agent selection guide, is a rule that when you do work, have a different model do a fidelity check. Let's put the documentation writer on screen so we can watch that for a little bit. Put it down here. Not a lot to watch, it's just the usual. While we're waiting, I can show you a few other features. If we go to the upper right, we can actually start another agent independent of the orchestrator. When the document writer is done, it's just putting out its final output right now. It has passed back to the orchestrator. The orchestrator has passed the artifact over to the Codex to do the review. But it turns out the review found 6 errors, so the orchestrator is throwing it back to the document writer to fix. And now it finally reached completion. The orchestrator has cleaned up the sub-agents, so let's close their windows here. And as asked, it has reported back with bullet lists of the corrections that were made. I'm going to review these later. So in summary, Traycer is a very good environment for collaboration amongst your AIs. You can do collaborative software engineering to initiate your development projects, and then the agents can do collaborative development in this environment. The workflow, as you saw, is you start with an orchestrator, explain the job to it. It will, on its own, based on the agent selection guide, farm out to associated agents, see to it that the job is done, and will present you the results at the end. So, thank you, and join me next time on The Model Ear.